Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Gianluca Masi speaking. It is a pleasure for me to be here. I am welcoming you on the behalf of the Virtual Telescope project on a very special night. Tonight we are ready to leave for a journey. We will visit the deep space, deep sky wonders, the deep sky treasures, and all this is happening in a very special period of the year. This is April, and for a number of years now, this month has been dedicated to the stars, to astronomy, and this is the Global Astronomy Month. It is the 13th edition, and all this is managed and organized worldwide by Astronomers Without Borders. I'm very happy and proud to be the national coordinator for Italy for this important organization. There were a lot of events this month, as every April since this initiative started in 2010, and there are many more initiatives by Astronomers Without Borders, and I strongly suggest you to visit their website. And the Virtual Telescope project is very proud to partner with Astronomers Without Borders to bring to you the beauty of cosmos. No matter borders, and technology is helping us to reach you wherever you are on these very beautiful planets. The motto of Astronomers Without Borders is one people, one sky, and I must say that I loved this since the very beginning. I still remember the very first edition of Global Astronomy Month quite a number of years ago in 2010, and it happened soon after the International Year of Astronomy 2009. It was a truly fantastic time. Okay, I was significantly younger, but that year, the International Astronomy Year, the National Year of Astronomy 2009 was just great, celebrating 4 centuries after Galileo used for the first time the telescope. And I remember there were a lot of events all around the planet, and Astronomers Without Borders just decided to take the legacy of such truly important, a once-in-a-lifetime event, and to keep that legacy alive. And we are doing a lot great work, and my friends there are really doing everything they can to share the beauty of the sky, the same sky we have up there, and also helping developing countries to have an opportunity to access the sky and have the local communities doing the very same. And I'm proud that tonight I will be your guide through the deep space, and we will be observing a few wonderful things. All this will be possible thanks to the Virtual Telescope project, something I started in 2006, a bit earlier than the International Year of Astronomy actually, and I just love every time something special is happening in the sky, comets, close approaching asteroids, eclipses, whatever. I really love to bring the experience to everyone connected through the internet to our services. And tonight we will have a very special session, Stars for All 2022 edition, and as the title is telling you, stars belong to everyone, or to say better, they belong to nobody, but we have the same opportunity, the same rights, okay, to enjoy their beauty and to stare at the stars looking up, even if virtually. This virtual opportunity turned out to be very important the last couple of years when we were just locked down by the pandemic, and this is still something just still around, at least in Italy. Okay, the seriousness is much smaller, but we have to be very careful anyway. And the last 2 years, I say, technology did a lot to bring astronomy to everyone, especially because it was not possible to just to gather in classic venues and look through a classic telescope. Anyway, we are happy to be here. I'm particularly proud to be your guide tonight. I'm talking from Rome, Italy, and I'm happy that I can reach you at the comfort of your home. And I'm just checking that our system is just up and running and ready to go. So we have an entire universe to explore, and I really want to start doing some interesting observations. But before doing so, I still want to thank you for being here, celebrating Global Astronomy Month 2022 with the Astronomers Without Borders and the Virtual Telescope project. And I also apologize for starting this event 15 minutes later. And that said, this is what you would see if you were sitting in front of my telescope. Well, in this very moment I'm sitting in Rome, and my telescope is about 100 kilometers south of Rome. So the telescope is not here, as I said many times, and this is just operated remotely. And these are the constellations. This is the sky just up there above the telescope in the central Italy. And you can easily recognize some constellation names, I guess. For example, Orion, the winter hunter, is clearly setting. Winter has gone. We are just traveling so fast to summer, so it is time for the winter hunter to take a rest, to take a holiday. And you have other important constellations like Leo, the lion, or the big bear, Ursa Major in Latin. I'm happy because Latin, it is the root of my Italian tongue, and Latin is the official language for constellations. And when you look up, when you enjoy the starry sky and you try to connect stars to create something, to draw something, you are exactly doing something that our ancestors did for thousands and thousands of years. And this is why constellations are so alive, really alive, and they are really ready to tell you amazing stories. And no matter, the culture you will look into, you will see and you will hear amazing stories, because each culture has its own constellations, had its own approach to the night sky, and of course, each culture has different heroes, different gods, different fears, different hopes, sometimes common, of course, but these differences, precious differences, are reflected by different constellations. This is why I really love to look at the sky of a given culture to learn more about it. And here in the Western world, we are just using the ancient Greek and Roman constellations and mythology. But if you travel and if you go to Australia, for example, you will find something very different, also because you have a different sky there, the southern sky, but you can find very different constellations. The same if you go in the very north of the world, in the very south, in South America. Traveling, looking at the sky is a very nice way to travel, by the way. Anyway, we are back here in Italy, at least virtually. And this is the sky, which is up above my telescope in this very moment. And you can see I just a red crosshair here. Let me see if I can just remove the red. Okay, just to leave the yellow. This yellow crosshair is just telling you where my telescope is pointed in this very moment. Let me see if I can show you the telescope, but of course I need to switch on a light, and I will do this later because the telescope is now taking some calibration images and I really don't want to switch to turn a light on. Anyway, I will do this later because I really want to show you the telescope while moving. And as I said, the yellow circle is telling you where the telescope is pointing moment after moment. And in order to see something, you just need to ask to our computer, where is the object you really want to see? There are literally thousands, millions of objects up there. Some of them are very impressive, some of them are very spectacular, and I will try to share with you a few of them, just showing them live, taking images in the very moment, the same moment we are talking, okay? And from time to time I will ask the system, for example, where an object, it could be Messier M97, where it is, and you can see that a red circle appears telling you where the object you asked for is located. So keep in mind, yellow circle, where it is where the telescope is pointing now. Red circle is where the object you are looking for is. And of course, when the yellow and the red are sitting in the same place, it just means that your telescope is pointing the object you really wanted to see. And let me see if I can show you now the telescope as I wanted since the beginning. Let's ask our remote light to switch on. Let's move our camera. And this is a telescope we are using. This is a truly amazing piece of hardware, optics and mechanics. And now I will ask the system to slew and observe something of interest. And I will not follow a given logic. I will jump back and forth in space and time. And the first object I really want to share with you is a globular cluster named Messier 3. And let's see where the object is. Look, here it is. It is in Canes Venatici, the hunting dogs. This is another small, not very evident constellation between Boötes, very famous one, and the Big Bear, the Ursa Major. I will ask the telescope to slew. I mean, the telescope is here, but I want the telescope pointing the object I asked, so I'm pretty sure I want this. I ask the system to go, the yellow circle will start moving, and look here in the video camera, the telescope is also moving. Quite easy, isn't it? This is the beauty of technology, and this way I can do a lot of astronomical activities, scientific ones, and also outreach, of course. This gray stuff you can see here, it's just a very sensitive camera, our technological very sensitive eye, and you can see the yellow is reaching the red and the telescope will stop moving. Now, to be a serious astronomer, I ask the remote light to switch off, as I really want the deep darkness, and we should be pointing the object, and I will ask the system to have a very quick sight of this astronomical object. Keep in mind, we are working at night. The object we are just ready to image is not visible by naked eye, so it just means it is pretty faint. Okay, we have a big telescope, okay, we have very sensitive camera, but it is not exactly like taking an image in broad daylight, where you use a fraction of a second to capture enough light to have a reasonably good image. We have just receiving just a very little light from this distant cosmic gem, and in order to see a preview I have to collect light not for a fraction of a second, but for a few seconds at least. Let's say 5 seconds, for example, just to be sure that we have something. The countdown started. For 5 seconds our sensitive camera is exposed to the faint light coming from this object, then the signal is converted, and here it is, our very first image. And I really believe this is not bad at all, my friends. This is the globular cluster Messier 3. Now that we are sure, of course I was joking, I was pretty sure that we had the object in the field of view, because this telescope has been very fine tuned, but still wanted to share with you the idea that we had to check that the telescope was pointed correctly to the right object. And that's it. I asked the system to take, you can see, a 60 seconds exposure, significantly longer than the preview, and the countdown has started. While waiting, I really want to invite you to look at the morphology of this object. You can see apparently there is a huge white area in the center of the image, and you can see many crisp, many sharp stars all around. The idea here is this is like a very dense cluster of stars, so dense that in the central region they are basically kissing each other. And it is also interesting to note that while you see white here, we can still read the information in this area. But let's wait for these 10 seconds for the deeper and hopefully better image to come and show. Just a handful of seconds. Exposure ended. Now the camera is just counting how many photons reached each pixel, and here it is. This is a truly beautiful image, much higher resolution of the Messier 3 globular cluster. How beautiful it is, very beautiful night. And as I told you, if you just play a bit with the basic controls like contrast, brightness, as you in your TV, you can still find some reasonable information in the very center. And you can also just play with the, you can see other very special functions and just have an optimal sight, optimal view of your object. Look how beautiful, honestly, this object is, with so many stars, literally tens of thousands of stars just packed together. And in the very center they are very close. Oh my god, I just zoomed too much. In the very center they are very close to each other. And this is typical of, as I said, of globular clusters. And there are a few hundreds of these objects in our galaxy, and of course we know many globular clusters also belonging to other galaxies, the Andromeda galaxy, for example. And what is interesting about globular clusters is that those objects formed very early in the history of the galaxy, hosting them, so that they are very old stars. The age of a globular cluster is about 10 billion years, more or less twice the age of our sun. And Messier number 3 is one of the most beautiful globular clusters you can observe even with a small telescope, of course not in such a very beautiful way, detailed way, because if you use your very own eyes to look through the same telescope we use it here to grab the image, you will see much less than this, because the camera is thousands of times more sensitive than our very, very beautiful eye. But still, I really love using my own eyes to look at the stars. And here to do this every time, even if just you are enjoying the naked eye stars. And I also want to comment about the very distant position of this object, which is about 30,000 light years. And this is the magic of astronomical observing. That is, when we say that this object is 30,000 light years away, it just means that the light we are looking tonight traveled from there to here for 30,000 years. So what we are seeing here is live. That is something we grabbed now. But the information we captured now is telling something which is 30,000 years old. This is really amazing to me. So we would love to have a time machine, I know, but at least we have a time machine working 50%. We can see back in time. We cannot go back in time, but we are seeing something which is 30,000 years old. And this is the beautiful Messier 3 globular cluster. But we can do much more than this. But okay, let's leave our galaxy for a while, because the object we observed, while so distant, 30,000 light years, is still a citizen. It is still, part of our Milky Way, our home galaxy, which has a few hundred billion stars and many other objects like globular clusters, for example, and these clusters are just placed in a big halo, just embracing the spiral structure of the Milky Way. But still, despite their distance, they are still just citizens of the Milky Way. But what about living the Milky Way? Definitely, that is looking at another Milky Way. And spring at least for us living in the north, our friends in the south are just in fall. I can just ask my system to look for one of the most beautiful galaxies I can share with you. It is still belonging to the Messier catalog. Messier is the surname of a big, very important astronomer of the 18th century, French astronomer, a comet hunter, and while hunting for comets, he discovered that there were up there a number of fuzzy objects, at first glance looking like comets, that is diffuse spots of light, but they were not comets, they were not moving over the time, and in order to avoid to be confused, he started just filling a catalog, just listing all those false alarms, and that is the Messier catalog. And now we observed the object number 3 in the Charles Messier catalog, and we are now to observe the object Messier 51 in the same catalog. You see the red circle? We want to reach it, and let's confirm this is our intention, and we are just going. The telescope, as you can see, is slewing. It did, and again, my friends, I want to take a quick preview image, a few seconds. This is a galaxy, so this is much more distant than the already distant globular cluster, because we are observing another, let's say, Milky Way, another galaxy. And what a big surprise, even this very quick preview is bringing us something amazing. This is Messier 51, and I really hope that this preview is capturing your mind. And this is I wanted to share this with you because this is about 1,000 times more distant than Messier 3. That was the globular cluster. Messier 3 was 30,000 light years. Here we are 30 million light years, and of course what we are seeing here is something which is, as I told you, showing something which is 30 million years old. Now let's try to take a longer exposure, but we already have something to comment while waiting the 1 minute exposure to end. And what we can say here, first of all, the shape. This is a spiral galaxy, and this is a typical shape for a galaxy, but this one is truly very well designed. As you can see, you have the nucleus of the galaxy, and the spiral arms are apparently just swirling around, but there is also here another galaxy. And even this quick image is making clear that one arm of the galaxy, the main galaxy, this arm is apparently acting as a bridge of stars between the main galaxy and the smaller one. I will call it its satellite. Let's wait for these 10 seconds plus a handful of seconds to have the deeper image, and perhaps we will see this even better. Let me wait for the image to show. Look here, my friends. I really love what we are seeing here. Look how the longer exposure, even if this is a raw image, keep in mind, this image is showing soon after it was grabbed, without any post-production, any enhancement. This is the real observing experience brought to you live. via the Virtual Telescope project for Global Astronomy Month, April 2022. And now I asked, as you can see, to take a 2 minutes long exposure, but let's comment this. You can now see pretty well what I mentioned, that is this clear connection between the two galaxies. And as I did with the cluster, I can just play a bit and look how everything here is looking smoother and smoother. Really love this, my friends. I cannot tell you how fascinating I find this object. Look, this cosmic beauty is suspended somewhere in the universe 30 million light years, and we are seeing live now together, no matter where you are on this beautiful planet, just sharing the same sky. But what we are seeing live is basically 30 million years old. And you can see there are also some fuzzy objects. They are fainter galaxies, which are smaller, companion, or even just very far galaxies on the background of the foreground galaxy here. Let's wait for the deeper image just coming here. Of course, you see white. Why? Because we adjusted brightness contrast for a 60-second exposure. Now we have twice the signal, so we have to adjust again. It is just flooding us. And I want to unveil this step by step, but those of you now familiar with this should have noted that meantime I started a 5-minute long exposure. Let's adjust this. Oh my god, how beautiful it is. How smooth this galaxy is. Brought to you again live via the Virtual Telescope project, and I really hope that the beauty of this cosmic gem, making possible our own astronomical experience, would touch you, the human in you, and will help you feeling as part of something special. We are really special having the opportunity. We belong to this universe. We are part of the universe, and we really have the privilege to look around, enjoying what we see, and hopefully understand what we see. This is the adventure we call science, after all. I love this fantastic vision. Let me... Oh, I did too much, my friends. But look here, how this choice is still makes sense. And just by clicking randomly, perhaps I'm giving you an idea about the importance of image processing, my friends. And please keep in mind, I told you, this is another Milky Way. This is a galaxy, the same rank, okay, of Milky Way. So here you have a few hundred billions of stars with countless planets and so on. And of course, all the stars you see around here belongs to the Milky Way. The stars around, they are on the foreground. It is like if you are in a fence, you are looking through the fence, and the leaves are just in front of you, and you see the real world far away behind the leaves. And here the leaves are the stars, and we are seeing the galaxy, which is very distant. But sometimes a star in the distant galaxy explode just as a supernova, a very cataclysmic, very energetic event, and while exploding, a single star will become about a few billions times brighter, to the point that that single star, while exploding as showing as a supernova, just offering you a supernova event, will be visible as a single star in the galaxy. And I have something very special to share with you soon after this, but still want to wait for 60 seconds. Another important thing is that this galaxy, Messier 51, the Whirlpool galaxy, how it is quite appropriately called, nicknamed, was the first galaxy which showed its spiral structure. This happened in the 19th century, while Lord Rosse from Birkestle, Ireland, was looking at this with one of his telescopes, the Leviathan telescope, and luckily even Van Gogh, when painting the strange spiral pattern in the sky of its starry night, was inspired by the drawing of this galaxy by Lord Rosse. It is amazing how things could be connected when we are observing something so far away, but still part of our culture. Let's wait 10 seconds and a bit more for our last sight on this very, very beautiful galaxy. Be ready to the white screen, okay? And now, here we are, look. Now the signal is impressive. Look at the smoothness and the very high definition of this amazing gem. I'm really, really amazed, my friends. Now I'm checking if we have a bright supernova. I would like to share to you. Okay. So let's say goodbye to Messier 51 and I'll ask the system about this other galaxy, NGC 4647. Red circle here. Let's go there. I have also to stop taking images because we are changing our target, and once there, again I will take a very quick look. NGC 4647. Why we are looking at this, I will tell you in a few seconds, taking a preview image. You can see two galaxies, 1 and 2. I will ask the telescope just to center the ideal point between the two galaxies. Let's wait for an update, and then I will start taking a new image, and I will tell you why we are here. Let's remove the crosshair here. Okay, let's adjust contrast and brightness again, even if we have just a bit of signal. But you can see these are two galaxies, okay? And all the stars you see around, as I told you earlier, belong to our Milky Way. But this star here belongs to this galaxy, NGC 4647. I'm just going, let me see if I can ask how far this galaxy is. Okay, just doing some calculation. Okay, the galaxy hosting this supernova, this one, now coming the deeper image, is about 60 million light years away. Let me enlarge a bit, please. How beautiful is to spy these cosmic explosions. So, friends, you have two galaxies. This one is NGC 4647, and this bright dot of light is a star belonging to this galaxy, which is about 60 million light years away. So while this supernova was discovered a few nights ago, it is actually telling us about an explosion happened locally there 60 million of years ago. Basically, where dinosaurs were just suffering extinctions after the asteroid collision, you know. Let me take a 2-minute exposure, and I will tell you a bit about this supernova. Okay. This is as I said, this is a supernova that is a cataclysmic explosion, actually involving two stars that are pretty close to the point that one star is just sending its matter to its companion, and this companion accreting the matter is a white dwarf, and at some point receiving this additional matter from the companion, the white dwarf knows a cataclysmic explosion, just increasing its brightness of a few billions of times. So you can really imagine the dramatic explosion, the dramatic event we call supernova. And of course, this is a completely cataclysmic event. Basically, the original structure of the star is destroyed, and the only remnant is a pulsar of black hole. And of course, because of such a huge increase in brightness, you can easily see this star now under the supernova explosion as a single object. Keep in mind that this single star is brighter than the entire nucleus of this galaxy, and this nucleus is hosting billions of stars. So we are just a clear demonstration of the dramatic proportion of the supernova cataclysmic explosion. Just waiting for the new image. Okay, just downloading. And let's adjust this quickly. And I want to show you another amazing galaxy to offer you a huge contrast with what we saw earlier. Remember, we observed Messier 51, the Whirlpool galaxy, showing us a very beautiful spiral structure. Now we are observing such a distant supernova, but now I want to ask our telescope to go and observe another completely different object, one of my favorites, in comma Berenice Hayers, and of course I asked the telescope to slew. The new object shares the same spot of sky like the supernova, And now let's take a quick exposure, and you will easily understand why I love this. Okay, let's wait for this quick exposure to show. 10 seconds, a bit more than earlier previews. Let's wait, and now you can easily understand why I wanted to show you this one. This is now a hedge-on galaxy. When we observed the whirlpool, we were just observing a spiral-on galaxy, phase-on. This is edge-on. This is why we don't see the spiral structure, because you should see from the top while we are looking through the edge. Okay, and I asked the system to take a longer exposure, but still I can play a bit with this, and you can see this clear, fascinating darker region. As when you look an edge-on galaxy, you are also looking through the dust on the galactic plane, just hiddening the stars behind this dense dusty cloud. So it is not, they are not missing stars, there is just a lot of dust just absorbing the light of the stars, giving you the impression of missing stars. And this is a NGC 4565. Longer exposure now ready and downloading. In time, taking a longer exposure. Look, again I told you, we are observing, we are enjoying uncalibrated images, but look how detailed these images are, thanks to our powerful robotic telescope. How beautiful. NGC 4565, very famous hedge-on galaxy. This is often used on books to show you such a galaxy that is a hedge-on spiral galaxy. This one is also about 60 million light years. Again, we are spotting something which is 60 million years old. And I really find all this amazing, even because we are just taking images back to back without any problem, as you can see. And this is the good of technology, friends. And after all this is happening live via the Virtual Telescope project, celebrating together Global Astronomy Month. As I told you, I'm never tired to look at this. And now, sorry, adjusting again, how beautiful this is again. And now that we are approaching the end of this Stars for All 2022 live observing session for Global Astronomy Month 2022, I really want to show you another completely different object. We spotted a globular cluster, we spotted a supernova in a spiral galaxy, we saw a double galaxy, I mean Messier 51, its companion, the phase-on beautiful spiral galaxy Messier 51. We also saw the edge-on NGC 65 galaxy. And now I really want to show you something now back in our Milky Way. Let me see. Okay. No, let me see if I can find. Perhaps it's still visible. In Gemini constellation. Perhaps this is too low, but let me check. Again, yellow circle showing where the telescope is pointing now. You really need to go where the red circle is showing. Our object is there. This is the famous Eskimo Nebula. Actually, it is pretty low above the sky. It is setting because Gemini, the twins, is a typical winter constellation too. But let's see if we can still observe something or not. Otherwise, I will have another example. Because I mentioned it to you, the catastrophic explosion of a supernova. But I want to show you a much more gentle death of a solar type star. We have something here, of course. Let's take 30-second exposure. Look, there is a bright star and something not easy to understand, but if I adjust contrast and brightness, this white circle reveal a structure, and it looks like the head of an Eskimo. Let's wait for the longer, higher resolution image coming now. Okay, let me see this. Look, with the nose, perhaps you can imagine the eyes and the mouth. Okay, you really need to quite an amount of imagination. Let me try this. Okay, just trying to see if I can take a higher resolution image of the Eskimo. Just to tell you that the nose is actually a dying star. When this star was about 10 billion years. When it was younger, it was basically like our sun, and our sun in 5 billion years by now will develop that gas envelope, something we call planetary nebula, and it will just it will put on a show for someone else somewhere in our galaxy. Let's see here if we have something useful. Okay. I love the apparent. This is the typical shape of the Eskimo hat. Not bad, my friends. really not bad. But let me try to grab something better placed in the sky, which will be our last target. We are just heading to Ursa Major, Big Bear, go to the Big Dipper, and we should be sitting now in the right place. As always, quick exposure. And then ready to go with a longer exposure. This is another planetary nebula, again showing the final stages in the life of sun-like stars, and you can see quite pale, and this little star is the dying star, and this pale envelope is just the gas envelope released because of very specific mechanisms characterizing the stars when it is so old, that sun-like stars that old, more than 5 billion years. And let's wait for this 1 minute long exposure. "20 seconds to go, more or less. And ready to look at this cosmic gem. We observed quite a variety of objects now. Wait. Look, this is pretty faint. It is the object number 97 in the Messier catalog, one of the faintest of Messier catalog. But it is nicknamed Hole Nebula, as this is like the face of an hole with the nose here and the eyes as well. While we are observing very far away from home, but we are back in the Milky Way, we still try to nickname things with the familiar names. So my friends, I really hope that you had a good time just enjoying the Stars for All observing session. This is a virtual star party, bringing to you the beauty of the same sky we all share on this beautiful planet, celebrating Global Astronomy Month, organized each year by Astronomers Without Borders. I strongly invite you to visit www.astronomerswithoutborders.org website to learn more about the many activities they are doing and the many efforts Astronomy Without Borders is doing just to support astronomical projects all around the planet, and you can very likely find your way to support their important job. I would say our important job, because I'm proud to be the national coordinator for Italy for Astronomers Without Borders. That is all, my friends. I hope that you really enjoyed this Stars for All 2022 edition, just surfing the deep sky back and forth from the Milky Way to the more distant galaxies and back home. Gianluca Masi, Virtual Telescope Project, Rome, Italy. I had the privilege to be your guide tonight, and really invite you to keep looking up and hopefully sharing your experience with others, your neighbors, your friends, your contacts on your social media, just sharing the beauty of the cosmos we live, where we live. It can help just people interacting each other in much better way. This is my personal experience, and I always try to use my time to share what I love, the sky. And as Astronomers Without Borders say, we are just one people sharing the same one sky. Happy Global Astronomy Month. There are a few more days to celebrate, and by the way, I really want to invite you to join another project of Astronomers Without Borders for Global Astronomy Month, because if you wake up earlier than the sun these mornings, you can really enjoy something very special, my friends. And this is at least what I observed this morning here. Look, this is the skyline of Rome, and you can see the planetary parade just involving an alignment with 4 planets: Jupiter, Venus, Mars and Saturn, and the skyline of Rome is just below. And I could also capture on the upper left a portion of the trail of the International Space Station, and a few minutes later another space station, this time the Chinese one, the Tianhe-1, crossed the same spot of sky. The sun was ready to come above the horizon. You still see the 4 planets. There was enough time for the moon to rise as well. You can see the St. Peter Dome on the bottom right, and the Tianhe trail pretty well visible. I was really fascinated by the combination of Jupiter, Venus and the moon, and I decided to have a better look there. And here it is, the moon, Venus and Jupiter just hanging above Rome, and you can see on the bottom the famous Trinità dei Monti church just dominating the famous Spanish steps here in Rome. And I hope that all this made your staying with us pleasant. I want to thank you for offering us some of your time, and please take care, stay safe and keep looking up. The Luca Masi Virtual Telescope Project, celebrating together Global Astronomy Month 2022. See you soon, keep in touch and keep looking at the stars.